hope you're enjoying these video tutorials. The next session is going to be even more exciting. Let's get started. Okay, now we're finally ready to code. And remember, we're using Scratch, the program developed by the Lifelong Kindergarten group of the MIT Media Lab. Fabulous program. And we've already set up our characters and gotten our stage ready. And of course, we remember our math challenge. What we're going to do is try to solve problems involving large numbers using technology. And our solution was we were going to build a math game. In this video, this is video number 3, what we're going to do is learn to start our game with something called an event. So pressing play is an example of an event. So we're going to learn to do that. We're going to learn to add text to make it look like our characters are actually speaking, so text bubbles. And the third thing we're going to do is we're going to ask the user for an answer. The question we're going to ask is, what is your name? And that's going to create an answer, which is called a variable. We're going to talk a lot about variables during this 10 sessions, but for now what you need to know is a variable is just basically a place to store information during the game. For example, score, name, lives, coins collected, anything like that is a variable, something that can vary. Often it's a number, but it doesn't have to be. In this first example, our variable is actually going to be the person's name that they enter. So we're going to be creating a lot of variables during games. And variables are very important during game making. But we'll talk lots about that over the course of the next 10 videos. Let's go over to our game stage now. We want to click and bring our robot down. So our robot's actually walking on the ground. We want to bring our rocket ship down. And now we're ready to start building our game. We have a couple of characters. We have a nice backdrop. So let's look at our tabs across the top. We again have the sounds, costumes, and scripts. We're going to go back to scripts. And we know that if we were in a play, every character that was in the play with us would have its own script. Scratch works the same way, so every character needs its own script. And to create a script for a character, you have to make sure that in the sprite menu, you have the correct sprite selected. This is a great time to kind of take a step back, get your pen and paper out, start to think about how you want to do your own game, kind of think about what you want the game to be like, draw it all out, because it's much easier when you have a plan to work from. The first thing we wanted to do was we wanted to make our robot a little bit friendly and kind of welcoming to the player. So we start by introducing the robot and then having the robot ask the user for some type of input, which would be the user's name, and then the robot responds and welcomes the user to the game. So in order to do that, we need to go under the Events tab, because remember, in computer programming, when we talk about starting a game or animation or something happening to make a game start, computer programming, that's what's called an event. When you press play, that's an event. It triggers something else to happen. So Scratch has grouped all of those under the tab Events. So we're going to go under the Events tab, and in this case we're just going to select when the flag is clicked. Hold down the left mouse key and drag it onto the workspace. So this is our first line of code. It says when the flag is clicked. When the flag is clicked, something's going to happen. What's going to happen? Our character is going to ask a question. So we're going to go under the Looks menu and we're going to grab the Say button. So you can see that this line of code says say hello for 2 seconds. We're going to hold down our left mouse key and we're going to drag it over and connect them together. Anytime you see white spaces with text inside, that means it's editable. So I can double click on that and I can change the message. So I'm going to say hello, my name is Sally. And it's for 2 seconds. I can change that. I can make the robot say that for 5 seconds if I like. Let's test that out. So we go over here to our game stage and press play, and our robot says, hello, my name is Sally. Every time I press that flag, that line of code executes. The next thing we want to do is we want Sally, the robot, to prompt us for an answer. So that's a little bit different than just saying it. And Scratch gives us a command that can do that. Look under your Sensing menu, and the block of code we're looking for is ask, what's your name, and wait. So we're going to grab this line of code and we're going to drag it over here. And this is actually what we want Sally to say. And then the reason we're waiting, when you see the wait, it's because the user is prompted for an answer and the game is not able to continue until we get that answer. So we're going to say, what's your name? So let's press play and see what happens now. Hello, my name is Sally. Ooh, you can see this giant bar appear down the bottom and I can actually type my name in. So I'm going to type in Kim. What would we like the computer to do now? So we'd like our robot now to recognize that the user has given their name and say welcome to the user and include the user's name in the welcome. Let's think about what's actually happened here. So we've asked the user, what's your name? And then we waited while the user inputted what we would call an answer. And the answer is actually a variable, because the answer could have been anything. My name could have been Kim, it could have been John, it could have been Sam, it could have been Charlie. So what Scratch did was Scratch created a variable placeholder, a place that whatever the answer was would be stored. And that's called a variable. And you can see right here the word answer. This is where Scratch put the answer. And if you'll notice there's a little toggle box to the left. If I click on that, the variable actually prints out and appears on the screen, and that's what we want to know. So there's the answer variable was created. When Scratch asked the question, it created a variable that could store the answer. So the variable is answer, and inside the answer is the word that I typed, which happened to be Kim. So now we want the computer to repeat back. And in order to get the computer to do that, let's go under the Looks menu, and we're going to grab Say Hello for 2 seconds. Let's take that over. But in this case, we don't want the computer to say hello. We want the computer to say hello and use the person's name. So let's go under the Operators menu. And if you look down here, Scratch gives us a choice that says Join Hello World. So it's joining 2 words. So that's exactly what we want the computer to do. So we're going to grab this ellipse and we're going to drag it over here. And I'm just going to leave it go for a minute, and I'm just going to put it right here on the page. You're going to notice that this is a rounded shape and this is a rectangle. So at first glance you may think that that's not going to fit. But this is one of the little oddities about Scratch. Watch what happens when I bring this over here and I let it go. In the Scratch world, a square fits in a circle. A circle fits in a square. So we're going to join hello. So we're going to retype that because I want to use a capital. Hello. And instead of world, I want to actually say hello to whatever the answer is. So I can actually grab this placeholder, and again, the circle fits in a square. So I can say, and I'm going to join these 2 words. So now I should be able to say hello, Kim, for 2 seconds. So let's give that a try. We'll press play. Hello, my name is Sally. What's your name? And this time I'm going to type Sue, just so that you'll know it matters. And now the computer has said, hello, Sue. But you'll notice one thing that didn't happen. They put hello and then Sue side by side. So what we're going to do is come to the end of the word hello. I'm just going to add a little space. And that'll give space between hello and Sue. And that's it. That's all there is to it. We have now created a line of code that introduces our robot, that prompts the user for information, that stores that information in a variable, and then the robot generates another message and includes the answer that was stored in the variable. So great job! If you want to pause the video now and play around with that and have the computer say what you want it to say, not necessarily what I said.